At 72 years old, I learned that you can outgrow your own children, not in height, not in years, but in the way you handle money and respect. My name is Margaret, but everyone calls me Maggie. I raised 3 kids, buried 1 husband, paid off a small house, and spent 40 years believing the same thing. Family would never steal from family. Then my eldest grandson used my trust, my grief, and my shaky hands to empty half of my savings with a power of attorney I thought was just a bank form. This is the story of how my own family tried to clean me out, and how a grandmother on a fixed income turned the tables, changed her will, and made sure the only thing they inherited was the lesson. I am not a sophisticated woman. I don't trade stocks. I don't understand crypto. I shop with lists. I freeze leftovers, and I still think cash is the easiest way to see what you're really spending. When my husband George died at 68, I had 2 things I was proud of: a little red brick house, paid off, and a savings account with just over $150,000 in it. Not Fortune magazine money, but I won't be a burden money. My children all said the same thing at the funeral. Mom, don't worry about anything, we'll take care of you. For the first year they did. Sunday dinners, rides to doctor's appointments, fixing the leaky sink. Then life got busy. Texts replaced visits. One by one, they drifted back into their own storms, except for Josh, my eldest grandson. He was 27, charming, and always had some startup idea cooking. He worked with computers, which in my generation automatically meant smart. He started coming by every week, fixing my Wi-Fi, bringing takeout, listening to my stories like they were important. "You're my favorite person, Grandma," he'd say. "You and me, we're a team." When the mail confused me, he'd explain it. When my hands shook trying to log into online banking, he'd help. "Technology is a mess," he'd laugh. "Good thing you got me." So when he said, one afternoon over tea, "Grandma, we should get your finances streamlined so no one can take advantage of you," my heart warmed instead of warning me. He held up a stack of papers from the bank. "This just lets me help you with bills," he said, "in case there's ever an emergency. Power of attorney, it's standard. We'll keep it in the family. Better me than some stranger." I hesitated. "I don't want to be a burden," I said. He smiled. "You're not. You're an investor in the family." I signed. That signature cost me $58,000. I didn't know it yet. For a while, nothing seemed different. My pension came in. The bills went out. The lights stayed on. Then I started noticing little things. The new watch on Josh's wrist. The new car. Nicer than anything his parents ever drove. The quick weekend trips he posted about online. I'm old, not blind. One Tuesday, I got a letter from the bank. Not a statement, a courtesy notification. "Dear Ms. Parker, this is to confirm the transfer of $10,000 from your account ending in 4821 to account ending in 7790. Authorized by your attorney, in fact, Joshua Parker." My tea went cold in my hand. I don't send $10,000 anywhere. I barely send 10. I called the bank. The nice young man on the phone read the notes. Yes, ma'am. Your grandson has full authority on the account, he said. It looks like he's been helping manage investments. My heart started pounding. Can you send me statements for the last year? I asked. When they arrived, I sat at my kitchen table with my glasses and a yellow highlighter, like I used to mark my students' papers. Transfer, $5,000. Transfer, $7,800. Transfer, $10,000, all to the same account, all labeled per POA. By the time I added them up, I realized over $58,000 had left my savings. I called Josh. Grandma, everything okay? He answered, cheerful as ever. Why is my money in your account? I asked. Silence. Then a nervous laugh. Oh, that. I moved some of it into higher yield stuff. Safer this way. We talked about this, remember? We did not, I said. I never agreed to you taking my money for your stuff. He sighed like I was being difficult. Grandma, inflation is real, he said. Money just sitting there is losing value. I'm flipping short-term rentals, doing crypto plays. This is how people build wealth now. I'm doing it for us. For us, I repeated. Then why am I the only one whose account is smaller? He said I was misunderstanding, that he'd put it back with profit, that I was overreacting. For the first time since my husband died, I raised my voice. You used my grief and my trust to fund your gambling, I said. That is not helping. That is stealing with prettier words. He hung up. I sat there shaking, part from anger, part from fear. At my age, $58,000 is not something you make back. It's the difference between dignity and desperation. I had a choice. Pretend it was a mistake and hope he fixed it, or admit that someone I loved had crossed a line that might never uncross itself. I chose the second. The next day I went to the bank in person. I brought my cane, my glasses, and the folder with every statement I'd highlighted. A young woman led me to her desk. I could see in her eyes she expected confusion. I believe my grandson has misused my power of attorney, I said. I want it revoked today, and I want to know exactly how much he's taken. Her expression changed from polite to serious. They froze his authority on the spot, issued new account numbers, printed a full record of transfers. Mrs. Parker, she said gently, this is a lot. You might want to speak to an attorney. So I did. The lawyer looked like my students used to when I told them we'd have a pop quiz, caught off guard, but ready. Elder financial abuse is real, she said after hearing everything. And sadly, it's often done by a family. The good news? You have clear documentation. The bad news? This'll hurt. She gave me options. We could press criminal charges. We could sue him. Or we could use something else. Leverage. Does he expect to inherit from you? She asked. I laughed bitterly. All of them do. They talk about my house like it's already divided. Then we make your will tell the truth, she said. We drafted a new will that day. Every dollar Josh had moved out without my informed consent would be counted as part of his advance inheritance. If he paid it back within a set time, the slate would be wiped clean. If he didn't, his share would shrink accordingly. I also added something else, a clause that if any heir contested the will, their share would drop to $1. Are you sure? The lawyer asked. I used to pay kids with stickers and gentle lectures, I said. At 72, I've discovered I also believe in consequences. Then came the hardest part, telling my family. I invited them all for Sunday lunch. Roast chicken, potatoes, my famous lemon pie, the same way my mother used to soften us all before delivering news we didn't want. After dessert, I put the folder on the table. I need to talk to you as your mother and grandmother, not as your automatic ATM, I said. I looked at Josh. I know about the transfers, I said. I know how much. I know where it went. He went pale. Grandma, I told you. You told me nothing. I cut in. I found out by accident. You used a power of attorney I signed because I trusted you, not because I wanted to be your investor. I turned to the rest. Your generation thinks feelings are everything, I said. Let me give you an older rule. If you touch someone's money without their clear consent, that feeling's called theft. No one spoke. I explained the new will, the deduction, the consequences, the deadline for repayment. Josh exploded. You're punishing me for trying to help, he shouted. You're letting a stranger lawyer turn you against your own family. No, I said calmly. You did that yourself the day you decided my signature mattered more than my understanding. He stormed out. A few weeks later, he sent a text, half apology, half excuse. He paid back part of the money, not all. Enough to show he understood, not enough to call it even. The rest, I wrote off, not in my heart, but in my planning. Today, my house is still mine. My savings are smaller, but protected. I moved most of it into accounts that require my physical presence and a second signature from someone who is not related to me. I also started something no one expected, a free weekly money talk at the local community center, teaching other older people how to read their statements, spot little withdrawals, and say no to family members who treat their retirement like a venture fund. Sometimes the women call me Grandma Maggie, even if we're the same age. I don't mind. Here's what I tell them. Love your family, but never confuse love with blind access to your bank account. Help is a gift. Control is something else. My children were shocked when they heard the exact numbers. Some were angry, at me, at him, at the fact that money forced us to say out loud what we'd been pretending not to see. Will Josh get anything when I'm gone? Yes. What's left, minus what he already took. Will that feel like revenge? Number. It will feel like balance. He taught me that even at 72, I could still learn a new rule. You are never too old to draw a line. And if someone in your family trips over that line on their way to your wallet, you're not the one who should feel ashamed.